Good morning. I want to come to you guys with a little something that I was reading about this morning, um, and it really sat well with me because it's been an actual struggle of mine, and I'm sure many other people, and that's decision making and knowing, struggling with is this the job? Is this the right way that I should go? Is this the perfect decision? Is this what God would choose for me to do? And I think a lot of people struggle with that, and what ends up happening is you do nothing because you're so convinced and waiting for that big, like, bing, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Sometimes that happens. I completely agree. Sometimes it happens, but I think sometimes it doesn't, and that's because God has given us his word, and if we read it and that sits well in us, that we, by knowing that and testing it against things, will know what his will is for us. That being said, I was reading in Acts this morning, and it really struck me at just how simply something very important was handled. So, just to give you guys a little bit of a preparation for this, I think we can all agree that the apostles were pretty important people, that their job was pretty important, I guess, kind of. It was extremely important. And God had picked these apostles. They were the B team. They weren't the A team. They were like 14 years old at the time, most of them, and they were, learning the family trade because they flunked out of school, which is a whole nother segment. But God had picked these people very specifically for a very specific purpose. So, I think all of us know Judas. Or if you don't know Judas, Judas was the apostle that essentially betrayed Jesus. Jesus knew it was going to happen, but he didn't do anything to stop it because that was part of the plan. That was part of the cup that had been handed to him. That's why he was bleeding from sweating blood from stress when he was praying to God. God, if it's your will, take this cup from me. If not, give me the grace to do it. I paraphrase. So it was pretty important. So in Acts chapter 1, this is after Jesus was risen from the dead and went back to heaven. It says, the disciples, the apostles, 11 of them at this point, because Judas went, and actually the verses just before this are pretty gruesome about what happened to Judas. It's pretty gross. But you can read that on your own. So now there's 11 instead of 12. So Acts chapter 1, verses 23 to 26. So the proposed two men, so the apostles had picked out two men that they felt were both able to fill this spot as the 12th apostle. So the proposed two men, Joseph, called Barsabas, also known as Justus, and Matthias. Then they prayed, Lord, you know everyone's heart. Show us which of these two you have chosen to take over the apostolic, why am I struggling to say this? Apostolic, thank you, ministry, which Judas left to go where he belongs. And that part's actually kind of harsh as well, because Judas was like a brother to all of them, and so you can see that they were not overly joyed by the choice that Judas had made, which Judas left to go where he belongs. Harsh. Then they cast lots, and the lot fell to Matthias, and so he was added to the 11 apostles. Super important role. It's down to two people. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I would roll dice and say, okay, God, you know what? If it's Matthias, the dice will show above 7. And if it's Joseph, or Justus, or Barsabas, all three of his names, it'll be below 7. If it's 7, well, you don't want us to have any replacement. But that's exactly what they did. They knew God so well and had this faith that he would use this to show them what was happening, and then that was it. Like, there was no discussion. It was no like, well, how do you know that you heard the word of God? They cast lots, and that's it. So I think that a lot of us get completely and utterly stuck. God, is that really you? Is this my decision? What's going on? And really, I think a lot of the time we just need to trust and have faith in God from our relationship with him, that this is what he has for us. And if it's not, God will close the door. He's really good at that. If you're open to it, pray like, God, you know what? If this is an open door, I pray that it would stay open. I'm going to go for it. I believe that this is you. If this is not what you have for me, close the door. And just do it. Just get her done. Just go for it. This recording these videos is brutally difficult. Is very hard emotionally. It's so emotional. It's not easy to put yourself out there in this kind of way. That being said, that's one of the fears that I had. What are the fears that you have about moving forward into what you think that you should do for God, for your life, the vocation you should have, the school you should take? What are your fears and worries? What's holding you back? What's stopping you there? And just trust God. Cast lots if you need to, but just trust that God will direct you the way that you're supposed to go. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you've listened this far, I really appreciate it. Please give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know the way that you deal with things, the way that you deal with these decisions. All right. Take care. Bye.